This is Coach Myrna Young, lifestyle entrepreneur and certified professional coach, and you are listening to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I believe it takes a mindset shift to take you to the next level in your career, your finances, relationships, health and fitness, or happiness. So, your journey to manifesting your goals and desires starts now. Transform your mind to transform your life. This is the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach Myrna Young, and in the guest chair today is Dr. Jeff Gustke. He is an ER doctor, artist, explorer, and we are going to be talking today about the 3 paradigm shifts to help us recover after COVID-19 pandemic. So this is an episode on hope. We are going to recover. We are going to get over it. So welcome, Dr. Gustke. I am excited to talk to you on this topic because it's new to me.
Thank you, Myrna. It's an honor to be with you, and I hope you're safe.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you're safe too. Yes, I've been self-quarantining. I only go out to the groceries and for my walk, and that's it. In fact, this is a big month for us because my family, because it's Mother's Day, it's my birthday, and it's my anniversary, and I'm saying to my husband, we're going to do something for our anniversary. And he's saying, nope, we're not doing anything stupid.
No, I want you to celebrate and get outdoors, and you'll be fine.
Well,
that's part of my message. Yeah, you can celebrate and get back to normal life.
I know, right?
Yes.
So great. I'm going to tell him you said that. Doctor's orders.
Definitely, yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about Dr. Jeff Gustke. He's an MD, FACEP board certified emergency physician, now in the front lines against COVID-19. Dr. Gustke is also a renowned National Geographic photographer and explorer. His discoveries and photographs are now featured at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. He found a hidden secret for 100 years that changes the way we see race in America and the way we heal ourselves. Americans now fear the air they breathe, the surfaces they touch, and their physical proximity to one another. Gustke's mission is to prepare you for a marathon, not a sprint, with 3 paradigm shifts vital to your safety that will protect you and those you love until a vaccine is ready. When the power of the modern world disappears, all we have left is each other. Everything gets real in a heartbeat. We discover strength and courage that we didn't know we had. We reconnect to meaning, purpose, and to each other through selfless acts of courage and kindness. We get very clear about what really matters, and we rediscover what's been there all along. A vast reservoir of human decency and goodness just beneath the surface of modern life that's never left us, which abounds with hope. When crisis turns our world upside down, paradigm shifts that restore that humanity safe and that humanity real are critical. So that's Dr. Gustke's mission. And so as we start our show, I always want to start off with getting a foundation for how my guests get to this point in their lives and their career. And, Dr. Gustke, like I said, he is a doctor, explorer, and an artist, and doing some good work on race in America. So if I were to ask you a life coach question, so do you think that your purpose is the explorer or doctor? Or maybe you became a doctor because your parents told you to become a doctor? What do you think?
No.
Okay.
No, I think I'm very clear about what the purpose is, actually. Okay. But it took a while. And what I do in the arts and what I do as an emergency physician at the bedside are the same thing. exactly
Really?
the same thing. It's helping at the bedside. I help patients and families on a journey through darkness to light and always towards hope. And it's a journey that begins with seeing, because once you see danger and you take off the rose-colored glasses and you see clearly what you're facing, you find strength and courage you didn't know you had. And that's what happens in crisis. And so with COVID and with everything we're facing now, we're finding strength and courage we didn't know we had. Everything gets real quickly, and we discover this connection to other human beings. We reconnect to humanness, and that's my mission, is to help people see danger and find a way around it, to safety.
Okay, awesome. All right. So that is a great journey. So after you did you found the exhibit, and you found the ruins, and you documented it and became famous. Then you decided to come back and become an ER doctor. How did that work?
No. I was already an ER doctor for 10 years when all that began.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So then you just did both.
Yeah. I've had two lives for over 25 years.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so great story. I love it. And I live in this space where we're all guided by something, and I do believe that when we were born, God put something in us, and it takes a fire starter to start it. It's just like me becoming a life coach. Almost similar to you, I picked up a newspaper one day and saw the word, and then I knew that's what I was meant to be. So just like how you heard that broadcast, just like how it's exactly happened to me, and it happened to my daughter. She was on her way to becoming a psychologist, and she read Nelson Mandela's book, A Long Walk to Freedom, and decided she needed to be a politician or be in politics. And just like that, she switched. So there is always something, I believe that there's always something that's inside us, that something turns it on. And, that turned on for you. So that's beautiful. So let's transition into COVID-19. I understand that as an ER doctor, you have some insights and major lessons, or even hope that you want to share regarding this COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, if I can share the first of these three paradigms that we're going to talk about, because it's about COVID. And it's not something so the first paradigm shift requires we open our eyes to danger we've never seen before. That danger is in the air we breathe indoors, and it's invisible. Until Corona, the dryness of indoor air didn't really matter, but now it's a matter of life and death, because Corona spreads like wildfire in dangerously dry indoor air. We spend 90% of our lives indoors, and Humidity Saves Lives is a simple plan that first makes invisible danger visible, and secondly, makes that invisible danger safe by simply adding water to the air we breathe indoors until indoor humidity is between 50 and 60%. So I believe that this is the most important public health measure Americans can do right now, because it helps to prevent small viral outbreaks from becoming massive viral bombs. And humidity will save lives and will get America back to work sooner and safer. And so, I'm sorry, were you going to ask a question?
No. I'm having you continue.
So the story behind this is it's an example of what of this mission that I've been on to help people see danger right in front of them and find a way around it to safety. So this is a missing link that no one's talking about. And the reason why I know about it is because 6 years ago, I was sitting across from my best friend's brother at the dinner table at a family gathering, and he is a brilliant electrical engineer that designs indoor air sensors for hospitals all over the world. And his company installed them, and he would get data, millions of data points from everywhere, every day. And he said, Jeff, when the Ebola outbreak, so this was right after the Ebola outbreak occurred here in Dallas 6 years ago. And he said when those two nurses got infected, those days were red days, and no one's talking about it. What's a red day? He said that the air indoors was dangerously dry. And so what that does, it turns out that this crisis of COVID is a crisis of dangerously dry indoor air. Indoor air emergencies are behind every viral bomb, whether it's Wuhan, New York, Detroit, New Orleans, up in Washington State, all of these. And we don't know about it because it's never mattered before. So the science has been there for years, but it was done based on flu principally. And flu we've kind of learned to live with, even though people die and it costs the economy billions of dollars. We've acclimated it to it. I mean, there are tens of thousands of people that die every year. But now with COVID, it's a different story because we have no herd immunity, meaning that no one's immune system has ever been exposed to this before until several months ago. Right. And it's highly, highly, highly contagious. And guess what? In dangerously dry indoor air, it spreads all the way across a room, and it lingers for hours. And it can stay on the surfaces and dry out and get into the air and into your lungs. And also in dry air, something else happens that no one's talking about, which is that we have a natural protective barrier. I call it Kevlar against COVID. The bulletproof vests that the military and police use. Right. Okay. Well, we have almost like a bulletproof vest for our respiratory tract. And what is it? It's, we have mucous membranes that go from the tip of our nose and our mouth all the way deep into our lungs. And what lines mucous membranes but mucus? And when the air is dry, the mucus is impaired. It dries out and cracks, and pathogens, in particular COVID, can get into our bodies. When it's moist, it's optimized, and it's like a bulletproof vest. And so it turns out that this is a predictable, preventable crisis. Because, and in fact, I've come up with a term that last week I was on the Joe Piscopo show. You remember him, the Saturday Night Live comedian? You recognize him. He's a funny guy. And so I caught him off guard because I come up with this term. It's the weather, stupid. Remember James Carville had it's the economy, stupid. Well, it's the weather, stupid.
Now you're saying it's the dry air, stupid.
No. It's the weather because it turns out that outdoor weather affects indoor viral danger. So walls breathe. Buildings breathe. Even high rises, even office buildings that look like they're sealed off, they breathe. And there is a weather condition that we never hear about. Because we think we know about humidity because we get the relative humidity, but that has almost nothing to do with viral danger indoors. And so if you look at Wuhan, for example, in December, when the viral bomb went off, when you look at the chart of relative humidity, it almost looks like Florida. It's like 75, 80%, 12 months a year. But when you look at this other measure of humidity,
that's where I am.
I know. That's why I mentioned it. And it turns out that 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 indoors the air was bone dry, and that's because of this other measure of water in the air. They call it humidity, but it's a whole different metric, and that affects that's what makes indoors dry. So when you look at all these nursing homes, the tragedy of nursing homes, and also the problem with inner cities, with the inner city poor that are so affected, is that they, in both situations, you have high population density indoors, virus, and dangerously dry indoor air that's like an accelerant it's like a blasting cap that, allows a small outbreak to become a bomb. And because the virus spreads like wildfire in dry air. So the beauty of this being weather, and why I surprised Joe Piscopo. And he didn't know that I knew this. He was friends years ago with another comedian who became a billionaire media mogul named Byron Allen. Okay. You would recognize him, but now he's just rich. He doesn't do too much on the. But he owns, single-handedly, he owns the Weather Channel.
Really?
And yes, he's an African-American billionaire that owns the Weather Channel.
Nice.
And that man could single-handedly change the paradigm of COVID all around the world, save tens of thousands of lives, and pull the economies around the world back from the brink because of what I call the Viral Safety Index, which is a call to action and a plan to keep us safe. When it's red, we humidify and hydrate. When it's green, we can all breathe easy. And it's based upon this unknown measurement that the weather services can do, but that we can't do at home. And they can predict in advance when the air is going to get dangerous, and then everyone can make it safe before it gets dangerous.
But I do think they talk about the humidity level right now on the Weather Channel. Are you talking something totally different?
Totally different. They always every weather report has humidity, but that's relative humidity. So let me tell you something else about Florida that you'll like. Okay, and no one's talking about this. So we're hearing about the great success of Governor Ron DeSantis and so many courageous Floridians in your healthcare system, and everybody did fantastic. And they, the rates were so much lower and better than predicted, right? I mean, the number of Florida set the record in terms of the lowest rate of death, but in older people. And you'd expect it to be the opposite because there are so many elderly. Well, I'm saying that, they did a great job, but there's a big part of the story related to weather, because it turns out, and you're going to like this, that the outdoor weather in Florida makes the indoor air safer, even in air conditioning. Yeah, and so that's a big reason why, I believe, the numbers are different. It's weather. And so once you realize that, you get hope, because we are fighting an invisible enemy. And in order to win a war, you need to make the enemy visible.
Right, yes, right.
Yeah, so what humidity does, it's like it almost scrubs the air of virus, and it's like a firewall. It doesn't allow it to go very far, and it cleans the air out. And COVID does not do well in green air. And so this is so simple. It's just a matter of, and remember, for your birthday and for Mother's Day and your family gathering, so important to you. This is my own belief, and I believe that the science is going to prove this out, that all these restrictions on outdoor gatherings are not based on good science. The conditions outdoors and indoors are drastically different. In terms of this virus, and the worry and the social distancing and the masks and all this stuff. I know that we didn't know anything. They're doing things with the best of intentions, but in a lot of places it's gotten carried away, and they're just making stuff up.
Carried away by fear, and that's basically what you talk about. You give people hope and allow them to see things clearly. And then when you
realistic
clearly,
hope.
then
Realistic
you're not
hope.
going to
Yes.
fare. Right, right.
You can find your strength and courage.
Right,
yes.
right.
It has to be realistic.
So what is the fix? Is there a fix?
The fix is, yes. The fix is on a policy level. Okay, first step is making the invisible danger visible with this viral safety index on every weather report every day around the world, around the clock. And I'm pushing for that to happen. And I hope the White House gets on board with that and that Joe Piscopo calls Byron Allen, which I asked him to do like 1 million times on the show. Okay. And then the other fix is something we can all do right now, which is very simple. You go out and you buy on Amazon or Walmart or, for like $12 or $14 a digital hygrometer. It's not hydrometer, it's hygrometer, H-Y-G, hygrometer, which is a little device that gives you a real-time readout of your indoor humidity. Now, it's relative humidity. It's not the ideal, but it's close enough, that it'll get you in a safe zone as long as you keep the indoor humidity between 50 and 60%. Now, this doesn't mean turn off your air conditioner, doesn't mean suffer and be uncomfortable. It's very comfortable to be in that 50 to 60% range and actually healthier in a lot of ways. And it will minimize the risk. It makes the air much safer against COVID. COVID does not do well in green air, which is a humidity of 50 to 60%.
Yeah. So,
and you may have a humidifier on your air conditioner. It's not by a humidifier.
I have a humidifier by my bed because my air is dry, and what I found is when my air is dry, I get up and drink water, and then I have to pee all night.
Yeah.
So I do have a humidifier on mine. I mean, right by my bedside, a small little one. But so this device that you're talking about, this digital hydrometer, it is just
hygrometer, not hydrometer. H-Y-G.
Yeah, I got
like
it.
Golf.
Hygrometer. Right.
Yes.
Is it a humidifier or just something to measure?
It's just a measure, and then you have to get a humidifier if you don't have one. So some people have them on their furnaces or their air conditioners. Some people you'll just need to go out, and you probably need to buy several, buy numerous, because you have to have enough. Right. And you might even want to buy several of these digital hygrometers. You can get them $10 to $15. Okay. And they're and so just keep the indoor air around the clock between 50 and 60%. Now, why do I say that? Because the most risky time is when we're sleeping. You know how when you get on the scale in the morning and you just feel like $1 million because you lost weight? That's actually, I do it all the time. But no, it has to do with us. We all breathe out water. We lose water at night, and we lose weight because we lose water. So we dry out. So by keeping your humidity in this 50 to 60% range, it keeps your Kevlar against COVID in the optimized range. It keeps you safer against the virus.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great start. It's a great start because the air that we breathe is, the air that we breathe.
Wouldn't that be something? Can I just make a point? Imagine if every nursing home, if every hospital, if every meatpacking plant, because we're seeing the meatpacking plants get COVID. Well, to me, it's a no-brainer because they're air conditioned and they're dry, and so the virus spreads in a dry environment. So all they need to do is crank up the humidity. It will lower the risk drastically, I believe, and it can change everything for all of us. Yeah. Yeah,
life-affirming information on air. So that's awesome, and I hope that the people, our listeners that are listening, to go out and do something about it because humidity
it's so easy.
has been something that everybody's been talking about for a while, for different reasons. So now we've got a good reason to go do it. And I got my little humidifier from Marshall's for under $20. So it's not very expensive, right? So
they're very basic. And
okay.
Please do it for your loved ones, for anybody that has that has diabetes, high blood pressure, that's obese, that is stuck at home. It's really important between now and the flu.
That's great. Yes. Okay.
When the flu season hits, it's going to be bad.
Really bad, right? Okay. Well, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we'll look into the other two paradigm shifts that, as you can see, this one was very important to our learning, and something I'm pretty sure to most of you who are listening, new information. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. We're going to be right back.
Are you ready to unleash your inner voice? Then join Coach Michaela Gaston in her 3-hour masterclass to help you make your next move. You will discover how to use self-expression, breathing, reflecting, and meditations to help you get in touch with your inner voice that will propel you to make your next big move in any endeavor in your life. Go to voiceyourvision.net to join Amy from May 28th live on demand on Zoom. Enroll in Voice Your Vision today at 50% off the retail price. That's voiceyourvision.net. voiceyourvision.net, and unleash your inner voice. Author Betty Tucker shares the story of her life in her memoir, Don't Worry About the Mule Going Blind. Betty Tucker came of age in Belle Glade, Florida, infamous for its poverty and violence. Her childhood was one of debilitating poverty, born of racism, exploited migrant labor, multiple rapes and other abuse, and chronic illness among her family and acquaintances. The list is long and bitter. Betty then moved to California, earned her college degree, and raised a family. Then in 1997, she began a long and eventually successful search for her twin girls she had given up for adoption 30 years earlier. Don't Worry About the Mule Going Blind is a book about fear, insecurity, sexual abuse, and neglect. This memoir will look beyond the description of these difficulties in the author's life to examine how she acquired the tools she needed to take more control of her life and what decisions impacted her choices. Pick up your copy today. Don't Worry About the Mule Going Blind, now available on Amazon.
Looking for love while social distancing just got easier for LGBTQ women of color. Be True, Be You was created just for you. It's a Black-owned dating community for women of color to find meaningful relationships or friendships based on personality. Join now. The first 30 days are free. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Love starts with you and ends with Be True, Be You.
Free Naturally is a Black-owned small business that pride themselves on vegan-friendly, paraben-free, all-natural body butters, body creams, and body scrubs, which will keep your skin moisturized with a natural glow. This mother and daughter team started this company after finding no beauty products that offered natural products. Visit them at www.chemfreenaturally.com and find natural products for your natural skin. Follow them as well on Facebook and Instagram. That is CHEMFREENATURALLY.com.
How would you like to grow your sales over the next 90 days? Dotlogics is an e-commerce web design and growth agency that has a vested interest in seeing your business grow. As more and more consumers are shopping online, now is the time to take your online business to the next level with a growth-driven website. They can help boost your sales in 90 days or less. It's been a challenging year so far, and they will help you adapt your strategy to thrive in 2020. Get a custom-crafted website that's not only functional, but speaks to your customers or audience in a way that moves them to action. They are seasoned online marketers that will help you design and implement digital marketing campaigns that generate leads that convert to sales. To learn more or schedule a time to talk, visit dotlogics.com. DOTLOGICS. Dotlogics.com.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life Radio Hour and Podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach Myrna Young, and in the guest show today is Dr. Jeff Gutsky, ER doctor, artist, explorer. In our first segment, Dr. Gutsky, ran us through how he became an explorer and his journey to becoming an ER doctor. And we started off with our first paradigm shift to help us not just recover after COVID-19, but during it. And we talked about the air quality that we breathe. And Dr. Gutsky recommended that we go out and purchase something that's called a digital hygrometer to test the quality of our indoor humidity. And we want to have that humidity between 50 to 60%. And the reason that we want to do that is that dry air dries out our mucous membrane, which is necessary to be able to protect ourselves from the COVID-19. The drier your mucous membrane, the faster COVID-19 could run havoc on your internal system. So, good information. I've spent a lot of time in the COVID-19 space, and this is the first time I've heard that. So, thank you, Dr. Gutsky. So, as we move along, let's go to our second paradigm shift that we need to save ourselves from self-destruction. What is number 2?
When belief in each other is critical, healing race is possible. So I found a secret hidden for 100 years that changes the way we see race in America and the way we heal ourselves. It's a dignity story about African American heroes who faced down a frightening infectious disease pandemic during the Spanish-American War and won. Their courage and selflessness when fellow Americans were dying in droves are a shining example of how we win against Corona. In crisis, we see differently. We don't see race, we see human.
True.
African American patriots who lived more than a century ago show us what it means to be an American as we face extreme danger together. Trust in each other is the glue that gets us through. So
I like that.
This is
I would say that's a tutable moment. Trust in each other is the glue that gets us through. Like that one. Okay.
Yes, it's absolutely true because, in these moments of crisis, we have to rely on each other. And so here's what happened. So I had been photographing intensely in France since 2011. I would spend about half the time over there out in the field, underground, because I found a hidden world of World War I that was basically unknown to the outside world. And these were underground cities beneath the former trenches where tens of thousands of soldiers lived, worked, survived on both sides throughout the war. And they're now beneath farm fields in the middle of nowhere, owned by private farm owners, and they're kind of off limits. And people don't know that they even exist. So one of these places turned out to be the only trace of an African-American combat unit that still exists today. That's one of the discoveries that's now featured in the exhibit at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture near the White House called We Return Fighting, the African American Experience of World War I. And it will be up probably through September. I just got a letter yesterday that told me that they're extending the run of the show because of the shutdown. So if you're in D.C. between now and September 6th, I think it'll probably be open. It's near the White House. And so when I met with the chief curator, about halfway through the meeting, he said, Jeff, you have stumbled onto I Have a Dream before I Have a Dream. And then he said it again. And coming from him, that is a big deal. He's so it turns out that this represents the story of what should have happened after the Civil War and did, and we don't know it did. African American patriots from the land of Lincoln come home after the Civil War, and just after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, they form on their own an all-volunteer militia, and they become the standard bearers, the torch bearers of Lincoln's vision of freedom for all of us. And nobody knows about it. It was the centerpiece of an entire community of freedom that involved men, women, children, generation upon generation. And so by the time of World War I, this unit that I discovered was already 49 years old. Now, there's something else that's amazing about it. It's almost mystical. It's almost like this mystical bridge across time speaking to us, saying that we got race wrong in America, and we now have a second chance to get race right, because that unit wasn't just any black unit. That unit was the only all African American unit in the U.S. military, with all black soldiers and all black officers, and they had been together for 49 years. So it's a story of unknown African American political power and self-determination that had existed long, long, long before Martin Luther King was born. And so now the Corona connection. So it turns out that 20 years before World War I, during the Spanish-American War, they became the first ever all-African American unit to go to war in the history of America. Why? They volunteered to put their lives on the line for their country at the height of a frightening infectious disease pandemic in the Spanish-American War. The soldiers were dropping like flies. Under those circumstances, they go to the governor and say, please send us. And it was called the Experiment in Color. It was a Jackie Robinson moment about which no one remembers. The governor really took heat with the White House, who didn't want him to do it. But in the land of Lincoln, Lincoln's vision still mattered, and he did it anyway. And it was a real test. And because of all these myths about African American, dehumanization, and that, African Americans couldn't lead and weren't capable, weren't loyal and weren't. Anyway, they turned everything upside down. The surgeons that ran these field hospitals understood infectious disease. Their hospitals were so clean, the infection rate plummeted, countless lives were saved, and there were many, many other firsts. The commander of the unit, who was the first African-American colonel in the history of the U.S. military, born a slave, the illegitimate grandson of the longest-sitting U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice in history, even through today. His grandfather inaugurated Thomas Jefferson. He became the governor of the province that has Guantanamo Bay today in Cuba. He commanded white and black soldiers. And they came home as heroes, and guess what? the President McKinley, who had opposed them going down there, now he does a 180 because they're heroes, and the experiment in color worked. And he invites this colonel who's, was born a slave, whose grandfather inaugurated Thomas Jefferson, to the White House. It's crazy. So why this is important is because what I see in 9/11 moments, we all see it now, as we face COVID, is people on the front lines putting their life at risk for one another. And, it's complete strangers saving the lives of complete strangers. And it's never about race.
So you think that one of the paradigm shifts that we have to go through as a country is, we all have to work together, and everybody black and white.
It's deeper than that. It's not. Okay. It's deeper. It's not an intellectual thing. It's a visceral thing. So the Civil War was the beginning of a long, difficult journey to rehumanize America, and we got stuck along the way. And when you think about it, there were hundreds of thousands. We want to get to the
COVID-19 part because we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
So,
what is the core of it?
To learn now? Right.
The paradigm shift is that we need to see each other as human. We need to, like we do in crisis, we need to feel, not see skin color, not see race, see human. And that's what happens in crisis. And that's what happens when we look at this unit, because, over 100 years ago, it was the way they saw themselves and the way they led and their clarity of how we face extreme danger together that helps us know how we win against COVID and how we recover humanness.
Well,
so it's Martin Luther King's dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, because one of the things they always talk about is crisis brings us together. They use 9/11. They use the COVID-19, where strangers are helping people. They use anything that you bring people together. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So,
well, if somebody saves your life and they're a different skin color, you don't see skin color, you see human.
Right.
And you never forget it. That's it.
It's true. Right. That's great. All right. Well, we need to get to your third paradigm shift. So let's take our second break, and when we come back, we will look at the third paradigm shift. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
High medication costs are hard to swallow. Whether you're ordering your medication online or picking it up in person during the pandemic, we are helping our patients get the most savings they need for all of their FDA-approved prescription medication. Download the card once and use it forever. If you have health insurance, use the card as an alternative and spend less than your copay. No insurance equals guaranteed savings. Use it all chain pharmacies. Visit johnsonrxdiscounts.com and use code RXJOHN40 for a 40% discount. That website again is johnsonrxdiscounts.com, which is JOHNSONRXDISCOUNTS.com.
Mushrooms are great in all kinds of dishes, soups, quiche, omelets, sauces, and so much more. Did you know it's super easy to grow your very own mushrooms? If you have a garden or want to start one that features food you have grown yourself, visit AncientPathNaturals.com. With Ancient Path Naturals, you will get delicious and versatile fresh mushrooms into your diet that are full of flavor and nutrition. Growing mushrooms has never been easier. With Ancient Path Naturals, you will receive an easy-to-grow kit that works great for beginners with step-by-step instructions. No experience required either. The mushrooms grow back year after year, and you get 5 varieties of spores. You will grow the most desirable mushrooms that will taste great in all of your cooking. Growing your own food is possible and easy. To learn more, visit AncientPathNaturals.com.
My people, it's time to exit the matrix. Exit the matrix. On Cotton for the Soul podcast, we give a raw and unfiltered perspective on eating a plant-based diet to emancipate our minds, body, and spirit up out of this matrix. Hey, we God people. Let's get our shit together. We are the chosen generation our ancestors dreamed of. Whether you've taken the pill of knowledge or the pill of blissful ignorance, tune in and listen from down the rabbit hole at cottonforthesoul.com. Hungry for more? We upload a new episode every Thursday at cottonforthesoul.com.
When it comes to servicing your garage door, you need someone fast and reliable. O'Brien Garage Doors is family owned and operated. They provide residential garage door services, including repair, sales, installation, and more throughout the United States. O'Brien Garage Doors online at o'briendoor.com has been proudly serving their customers for over 30 years. Their technicians are certified and trained to take care of all your garage door needs and are always courteous and happy to help. For over 30 years, they have been helping homeowners just like you with their garage door repairs, installation, and replacement. O'Brien Garage Doors is a national company based out of Arlington, Texas, and serving over 15 metro areas across the continental United States. Call them toll-free nationwide at 888-937-0061 to set up an appointment. Get your garage door tuned up for just $49.50. O'Brien Garage Doors, fast and reliable garage door services. Visit o'briendoor.com or find them on Google for a location near you.
Have you been furloughed by the COVID-19 pandemic and looking for extra income? We have a solution for you. Head over to www.joinfunbiz.com and partner with a team you can trust, who will treat you like family, marketing organic products that work, targeting weight loss and inflammation. We have over 80 natural, organic, and CBD products. With everything that's happening in the world, we all need a plan B. You can work part-time or full-time. You can work from home and get paid instantly. This is an independent contractor position. Take a free tour to learn more. www.joinfunbiz.com. That's JOINFUNBIZ.com.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life Radio Hour on podcast. I'm your host, Coach Marnie Young, and in the guest chair today is Dr. Jeff Gutsky, and we are talking about the 3 paradigm shifts to help us recover after COVID-19 pandemic. We have discussed the first paradigm shift is understanding your air quality and understanding the humidity index. Then we talked about healing the race relations and seeing everyone as human and not a color. So now, as we get into wrapping up the show, I want to talk about our third paradigm shift. So go ahead, Dr. Gutsky.
Thank you. Okay. So the third paradigm shift is called radical transparency. It's a new look at shouting fire in a theater and creating panic, controlling the extreme danger of media incitement in the aftermath of pandemic while protecting free speech. So it's a new approach to protecting free speech while protecting society from human predators who manipulate media to incite fear and rage during times like now when people are vulnerable, angry, and afraid. I've witnessed the dangers of mass media without transparency in a very personal way. As I was saying earlier in the show, I was the first fine art photographer to go behind the former Iron Curtain and document a hidden world of the Holocaust after the fall of the Berlin Wall. I've walked the ground of remote corners of Europe and the former Soviet Union where millions were murdered in modern times because no one stopped a few bad people from turning civilized nations into weapons of mass destruction using media. So mass media without transparency gives people with a pathologic absence of conscience, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, unimaginable power to do evil. And they all use the same tired old formula of myth amplified by media to incite rage in crowds for power that's been used by tyrants everywhere since the formula was first cooked up on the streets of Paris 125 years ago during the Dreyfus Affair. People of conscience fail to imagine the utter depravity of monsters like Weinstein and how dangerous they become to all of us when they get their hands on mass media. Predators love media because it gives them enormous power over the rest of us while concealing who they really are and what they're really up to. So the formula has been the engine behind every modern genocide, Myrna, including the Holocaust. The formula has killed tens of millions of innocent men, women, and children. The formula is now being used to tear America apart from inside out before we know what's hit us. The formula only works when transparency doesn't work, because when media has no checks and balances, we have almost no way of knowing when it's fake. And so it's really not radical. It turns out that what I'm proposing is exactly what we do in medicine. We're required by law to do in medicine right now. Whenever we give a speech or teach a class, we're required by law to disclose any conflicts of interest. If someone is paying us to say something, like a pharmaceutical company, a drug company, or if we own one share of stock in something we're talking about it, it doesn't restrict us from saying whatever we want. We have free speech, but we have to disclose it. Right. And so
that's how they have to disclose all the side effects from these drugs.
The talking points. They have to to tell who their talking point, who's giving them the talking points, who owns what, and they have to reveal how they're using media to control outcomes and to manipulate fear and rage. Because the model right now of so much media is the fear business, the rage business. And it's very dangerous right now in COVID because they can set society on fire. And these are, when I talk about people, we don't like to be judgmental. It's not PC. But in the ER, we are responsible for dealing with the dark side of human nature. If we deal with sexual predators, elder abusers, child abusers, if we do not deal with these people, people get hurt. And there are people who have a pathologic absence of conscience. They may drive a Rolls Royce, wear a three-piece suit, and have a degree from Harvard. And they're very good at concealing who they are. And it's up to us. And we do it politely, we do it respectfully, but we have to be aware that there's a dark side of human nature, and that when those people get a hold of mass media, we're all in trouble.
So what is the fix? What is the paradigm shift?
The fix is radical transparency. It's that we have to start introducing and requiring disclosure of who's given the talking points, who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, who owns what. With media, if they're going to use public airways, we need disclosure. It's not reining in their free speech. It's just we need to know what their conflicts of interest are and who's running the show.
Give an example. Everybody knows that Fox News is for the president. So give me an example how radical transparency would affect them broadcasting news. I didn't get it.
It requires it's any network. It doesn't apply to any.
No, I'm just using them as an example.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so when people give talking points, because what you see is an echo chamber so often. We're just exposed to two people who are all. It's all pre-planned. It's not spontaneous. It's not. They're just doing like a debate on a stage. It's all.
Right.
It's like the fix is in. And we need to know if they're going to do that, who's writing their talking points, who they represent, what their what their conflicts of interest are. That's it. Okay. It's just full disclosure, and we should outlaw media incitement, where people are using media to incite fear. For example, this hydroxychloroquine thing. That is, I think people should be put in jail for the fear that they've developed, because that drug has been used. I was on that drug, and most of the ER docs I know were on it. Yesterday, I'm giving a session for my National Geographic photographer colleagues tomorrow all around the world on COVID. And I was looking at Yale University School of Medicine. They have an updated protocol for COVID. Guess what the first step is in their protocol? It's hydroxychloroquine. You know, it's one of the safest drugs out there. People on lupus take it at much higher levels. Right. People, over 1 million people take it for malaria every year, and it's been politicized, and people are afraid now who need it. And you know, it's still being worked on for COVID, but it's just the politics and this manipulation needs to get out of medicine. Right. And so that's an example.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. So as we wrap up, because we're almost fresh out of time, so can you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you, what it is that you, what do you offer? So go ahead and tell us.
Okay. So I'm a professional speaker. I'm represented by National Geographic Speakers Bureau. And if anyone wants to have me come speak, or even online, they can contact National Geographic Speakers Bureau. And especially as we get back to work, we're doing reduced cost seminars, basically, you know, to help people feel comfortable getting back into the workplace, and also making their indoor air green, and answering questions, you know, with no PC. You know, politically incorrect about COVID, and telling the truth and talking straight. And then also, if people want to go to my website or my LinkedIn page to kind of keep up with what's happening, that's the best way to follow me. Also, I have a YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Myrna.
What's your website?
JeffGusky.com. That's JEFFGUSKY.com.
All right, so they can follow you on LinkedIn or look for you on YouTube with the same word, with your name, Jeff Gusky.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and if they can, if they're in Washington, please stop by the Smithsonian exhibit. They took out the Oprah exhibit and put this exhibit in, and I'm very honored to be part of it.
Well, that's good. My daughter lives in Washington, so I'll tell her
please
to go
have
see
her
it, and
go see it.
It, when I go visit her, and then I'll go see it myself too.
And save room for with your appetite. There's a great place to eat there on the same level. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the museum.
Okay. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you're very welcome. Well, listen, I want to thank Dr. Gusky for sharing hope and recovery after COVID-19. I like how he started off the show by saying that, you know, that's his purpose, to allow people to see clearly and have the clarity to see what's in front of them, and that allows them to recover. So I like the paradigm shifts that he talked about on the show today. There's going to be many more that that's going to come out from this, but this is a good start. So thank you for staying with us until the end. If you have not done so, please rate, review, and subscribe to the Transform Your Mind podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. I also want to remind you to join my private Facebook group called Life Coach. And if you wanted to get a transcript of this interview and links to Dr. Gusky's website, and also our sponsors, head over to the show page, which is www.blog.myhelps.us. Thanks again, Dr. Gusky, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you do. All right. So until next time, everyone, I hope you stay safe.